one was removed to, be replaced by the other one. Not only have they played together since almost the beginning of competitive League of Legends. I mean, look back to it, Leona Corki, that was Yellow Star and N-Rated that started that back in Against All Authority in Season 2 even. I mean, there's so much history to this one. There's a lot to think about in this game. The bans are coming in. We see Riven and Evelyn taken away here, first of all, for Fnatic. On the other side, Kassadin and Annie are going to be removed.
So the Riven and Evelyn is a little bit surprising to me. That Evelyn would have been targeted at Svenskera, and I think this must be something that SK is running in scrims online. Evelyn is very, very powerful with the reduced vision and lack of Oracle's Elixir. It's so difficult to ward up against that Eve. So a smart decision, but what it does mean, Leona's still available, Shyvana's still available, Renekton, a lot of these big pick champions that we've been highlighting are all there. And as we've seen already, SK deciding that Ziggs is scarier than a Leona. We'll have to see which of these supports gets their hands on it. I am expecting it to be picked.
Yeah, and if we look at things now, Elise got through, picked up straight away, Fnatic having no real hesitations on that front. On the other side, that leaves the Shyvana and the Renekton here for SK Gaming, and well, Freddy can play them both. Svenska quite happy to take the Shyvana off into the jungle.
My guess is it's time to troll. My guess, with two tanks being locked in with a Renekton and the Shyvana, we've seen Gambit going Shyvana, Dr. Mundo. Fnatic responded by going Trundle. And I think it can work for them if Renekton has already been taken away. Soaz could pull out Karma again. I'm not convinced. It's something that he's played a few times, played it at Battle of the Atlantic, and it didn't offer the impact he wanted to. So I would expect a Trundle right now. Those two tanks also is going to give you a very clear idea that Orianna could be a pick.
Yeah.
If you put the ball on either of those initiators, you've got a very good combo, you've got a nice front line, you've got good protection for your back line, and a non-safe AD carry like Jinx. I think this is a little bit scary.
And we see it is the Thresh that will be paired in there. Jinx, Thresh is the lane for Fnatic on the blue side, along with that Elise that was put in there earlier. And as we said before, Jinx, the champion that Reckless has played and done so well with in his first 2 games, not died up until now, as is Yellow Star statistics as well. On the other side then, for SK, they've got those 2 tanky champions in there. I guess we can expect the AD carrying support to come this round, leaving that mid lane until the very last.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the case, I think. Play it a little safer, allow yourself a counter pick. I think we're still theorizing towards Orianna, so you could even lock that in and deny that from Peke, who is a phenomenal Orianna player himself. My question for Candy Pan is, what AD carry does he want to run? Caitlyn would be a safe long-range pick, and if the Sivir comes in, the Spell Shield will help, but you've got a lot of things that can lock Sivir down. Elise can chase you, use the repel. If you get caught by a hook, you're in trouble. I'm not entirely convinced that's a good defensive pick. However, you throw down on the hunt, you add that to Shyvana and Renekton, and you can chase for days.
And Blood Boil now as well, because we've got that Nunu in there, which, if you look at the lineup now, we're thinking support, but will SK have Nunu in the jungle and a Renekton mid laner? Fnatic did it. Fnatic have played that Renekton in the mid lane.
Let's be frank.
It didn't really, did it? But they have done it, so it's not out of the question completely. On the other side, Shen and Vladimir being hovered over by Fnatic. Don't ever trust Yellow Star though.
No, not yet, but you do see there is a ghost teleport being hovered, for summon spells for Peke, so that could synergize with the Vlad. Before we theorize about that, I do think this is going to be a support Nunu, and I think the idea for team fights now is not necessarily hard CC, it's to run in and out, kite. I do think we're going to see an Orianna being locked in for this mid laner, and that would then give your whole composition so much movement speed. Orianna puts down her dissonance, you get on the hunt from Sivir, you get the burnout from Shyvana, and you can just chase in and out for days. The scary thing about that is the Gragas barrel. It can knock your entire team away. Shen's locked in. I haven't seen a 2014 season Shen. Safe pick for Soaz, and once again, demonstrating he's not really feeling this tank meta right now.
Yeah, and the fact that Soaz hates playing Shen. We saw it actually earlier last year where Soaz said, I'm not playing Shen, you can pick Blitzcrank Yellow Star and you can play that Shen in the top lane, I'll play support this game. Don't think that'll be the same this time around though. I think it will be Soaz playing the Shen in the top lane. What are SK going to be finishing off with? And Ahri is what N-Rated is currently stood with. So very much a get up in your face team from SK.
Very much indeed, and I think the Ahri is, different champion to Orianna is going to be less utility, but more, I think, pick power is what they're going for. The one thing that they lack is a hard engage. You know, you can have Shyvana diving in there, you can have Renekton diving in there, but there's no Thresh hook, there's no Cocoon, there's one charm really. So this pick, champion pick is to counter the 4 squishy champions of Fnatic, and in those siege situations, if anyone gets caught by a charm, that's the go button. Charm lands, you throw Renekton and Shyvana on top of it. I think I prefer Fnatic's composition. I think it does better at starting fights, it's better at disengage. However, if Renekton and Shyvana get rolling, there's not a lot of Fnatic that can stop them.
Yeah, that disengage, the barrel has to be well placed to knock people away from starting things. The Flay is only going to do so much for them. So this is going to be a real interesting one. SK Gaming, new lineup coming in, and rated a new support, former Fnatic player. Just so much on the line from this one. You know, Fnatic are 2-0, and the last team they want to lose their winning streak to is definitely SK Gaming. But guys, we're going to check out who you think will win this game. And crunching the numbers, it looks like a whopping 93% of you believe that Fnatic are going to take the win today. Wow.
There's not a whole lot I can do to say against that. It's heavily in favor, and rightfully so. For you guys sitting at home, you can let us know who you think will dominate today's games. Head over to lolesports.com, click on schedule, vote with those thumbs up. I think 93% probably realistic, but we've seen Alliance going 0-3. We've seen Super Hot Crew picking up victories here, so you know, it could be the other way around. SK could surprise everybody.
There could be a surprise in this one, and that's what games like Fnatic versus SK seem to throw our way constantly on a regular basis. Fnatic have had the better of it recently, though, that's for sure, and we'll see if they can continue that here in this game. Here we are, in-game then, for Fnatic versus SK Gaming, the first time, 4 at least, that we'll see it this season.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Enrated handles this one. When that massive backdoor happened at Katowice, he was on the team with Becky. He was celebrating along with the rest of Fnatic, and this game, he may be on the receiving end of one of those El Clasico moments. Early level, we do see Fnatic once again being involved in one of these early little trades. Yellow Star throws up the hook. And then Rated judges that maybe he knew. He knew Yellow Star was going to aim because of their months of experience together.
Funny thing is, we talked about it yesterday, myself and Deficio, that Enrated has always been known as this master tactician at level 1. He's brought so many different ideas to different teams over the years. And that's something that Fnatic might want to kind of shove in his face and say, don't know how much preparation you've done for us, but we're going to do something funky at level 1 here. They've already got positional advantage there on the bottom side of the river. Looks to me like it could be a bit of a bait, trying to make SK feel uncomfortable, trying to put Joe off with the amount of pings that you're throwing down on the bottom side of the map. Or it could be that late invade as well.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be the late invade. The fact that there are so many members of Fnatic grouped up around this blue buff, they want to get in there, deny that to Svenskeren, and maybe slow down his jungle presence. Typical, as we start saying that, a little trinket ward gets placed down, and that's going to reveal the members of Fnatic. So they've backed away for the time being, and it does look like they're going to default to their regular lane positions right now.
Well, both Enrated and Candy Panda are in there pretty early, but they will be met as they head down by Reckless and Yellow Star. The up until now unkillable duo lane here for Fnatic. We see there the start for Svenskeren in the jungle with Shyvana will be over by the red buff. Cyanide also on the top side of the map here. He has been kicking things off with his blue, going a little bit lower there than what happened over the other side. This mid lane then, Peke on Gragas versus Jesus on the Ahri. And, you know, Ahri we also saw from the former SK mid laner Ocelot quite a lot. And while he's not there anymore, this game could still be a classic for us.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Jesus plays this Ahri in the mid lane. I actually think that Ahri's got slightly better, you know, single target kill potential thanks to all of his spells. Land a good charm, follow up with the rest of your damage, and, you know, Peke could be in trouble. But because of the great early wave power that Peke's Gragas is going to have, he should be able to keep Jesus on the back foot, maybe keep him playing a little bit defensively to mitigate some of that early level pressure that could come in.
One thing that's going to be annoying for Fnatic, I think, is the constant snowballs coming out from N-Rated down in that bottom lane. Saying that, though, we can see that both Yellowstar and Reckless making sure that they keep a lot of damage coming the way of SK Gaming. N-Rated obviously can sustain himself in terms of getting health back there by chomping down onto those minions, but other than that, he's going to run out of mana pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's going to be relying on that visionary passive of his. After a couple of auto attacks or spell casts, he's allowed to cast another spell for free. So I think once the minion wave's with him, he can try get some auto attacks down, but it does also mean that the minion wave is going to start pushing. You'll notice now that if N-Rated and Candy Panda get in range, they're going to slowly start shoving this wave a little bit towards Fnatic. But as it stands right now, that cannon minion's going to help them out. The one thing I do want to keep my eyes on in this particular matchup is how these bruisers do with no exhausts on the side of Fnatic and no exhaust on the side of SK. There are 3 ignites apiece. So this is definitely signaling we want to kill you, and we want to kill you quickly once we get to fights.
Another interesting fact as well is like taunt landing there from Soaz onto Freddy, which will give him a bit of free damage. Last time Fnatic played against the Shyvana in the jungle was game number 1 of the entire season against Gambit, where actually Diamond had a 37 CS average lead over the entire game over Cyanide. And we can see this time around with Elise in the jungle, Cyanide is actually spending a lot more time in terms of farming and leaving those lanes quiet for now.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out for, pressure in the late game. I almost feel like Diamond Prox spent too much time in the jungle. He should have helped out in the lanes a little bit more. In talking about the lanes that need a little bit of help, Candy Panda has been smacked in the head so many times by Reckless's rocket launcher. He keeps using that switcheroo ability, using the extended range on that rocket launcher, Fishbones I think he's called, and continually keeping Candy Panda once again playing defensively. That's an 8 CS lead already, and that could continue to grow if Reckless keeps up this focused, poke.
Svenskeren using that Shyvana's ridiculously fast movement and clear speed there to get over, steal away the Wraiths, and look at this positioning, coming right around the back of Fnatic at this point, but will they actually fall for it? Candy Panda is pretty low, they've got no, as you said before, real hard CC to lock them down, but the slows may just be enough as we do see Shyvana coming around the side. There are the Chompers coming down, but Yellowstar is already starting to take a lot of damage. The Boomerang not quite got the range there to get in and do more, and they managed to walk off. However, the flash was used from Yellowstar.
Yeah, very, very crucially. I actually like the thinking from Yellowstar. He tried to land a death sentence to actually pull himself further away from Candy Panda and N-Rated, but unfortunately missed the skill shot. With Summoner Spell being burned and the fact that Fnatic are still pushing this wave up, it allows them to potentially be ganked once more. Svenskeren just needs to make sure he does it in the next couple of minutes before that Summoner Spell becomes available, and ideally before they actually hit 6, when you've got the box and you've got a little bit more zone control from the Thresh.
That was Svenskeren's first appearance on the map. Up until now, Cyanide has been where a lot of people will consider Spider's best, I think, out of vision the entire time. No one likes a Spider running around, and maybe even less so SK once Cyanide finally does come out of there. He's 10 CS behind though, which is the interesting story from this too, because of the fact that Svenskeren has come out of the jungle to help, but he's still that far ahead.
And we'll see how it works out for the time being, because Cyanide has had no presence at all. He moved towards the top lane. Freddy was already backing away thanks to a nice deep ward. Cyanide, not necessarily known for his super early ganks. He tends to respond wherever Fnatic need help. If a lane is under pressure or if they want to get somebody fed, that's where he tends to put himself. So for the time being, nobody on Fnatic needs the assistance of their teammates. So Cyanide is doing the best he can to farm. That early power of the burnout from Shyvana is of course allowing Svenskeren to farm earlier and steal camps away.
Look at Reckless there, dodging most of the damage from that Boomerang blade. Actually, Yellowstar threw out a flay, and there's the junglers actually meeting each other, and the damage here from Svenskeren already knocking Cyanide pretty low, but they're going to turn this one around. Svenskeren is level 6, so does have the dragon to escape. Won't be needed though. Freddy had started to come down. Fnatic decide not to fight, but for how long? Look at Peke's position.
Yeah, really good burst damage there from Svenskeren, but thanks to the damage he's now taken, Peke has explosive cast, has ignite as well. Svenskeren's aware of it, I think. Svenskeren hasn't started his red. He's playing this safe. And with 2 members, Fnatic should be able to pick this one up.
Oh, Svenskeren spotted here. There's a barrel knocking him right back. Dragon was already used. This Jesus comes in. Picky's going to go low. Finished up there. Jesus picks that one up. Cyanide did finish off Svenskeren as he exits the jungle, but again, similar to what we saw in the last game, a split-second first blood coming in before the reply.
And such a good barrel from Peke. That explosive cask actually preventing Svenskeren's dragon descent from getting him out to safety. The flash body slam to apply the slow, so very good play from Fnatic. But I think that because Svenskeren knew that it was coming, he called for assistance and Jesus responded in time. So Jez is able to get himself on the board, get that kill with Ari, and is going to return to lane with a little bit of extra ability power, some cooldown reduction thanks to that Fiendish Codex, and he's going to try to control Peke just a little bit more.
Top lane's been very quiet so far. 61 to 57 CS, pretty much bang even up there, and so as he's been pretty vocal about the fact that he really doesn't enjoy playing Shen in this top lane. He spent a lot of time under his turret, just making sure that the last hits continue to come his way. Now is Freddy actually diving in onto him and actually going to pop the ultimate here, so he's going to go for Soaz. He has an ignite, but that's the thing about the top lanes like this, both of them got mobility abilities that get him out.
Yeah, and you see that Soaz with his shield and his dash can at least clear out. Part of the reason that's quite smart from Freddy is it gives him that nice big burst of HP. So once Dominus runs out, he's going to remain at that higher HP pool, and that just allows him to stay in lane, to CS for longer, and stick around. It's a little risky because he doesn't have a ward in the river, so if Cyanide were to gank now, there's no Dominus available, there's no vision, so it makes it a little bit more unsafe for Freddy, but I think he's having a good read on the match right now, realizing that Cyanide is not in his general vicinity.
And Cyanide's going to try and stop this pink ward being taken out here. Svenskeren, though, will be able to walk in there, and I was going to say dodges everything, but no, Spider's not exactly easy to get away from, but he takes the ward anyway.
Very dramatic steal of that ward,
yeah.
Denial of that vision.
About as exciting as ward takedowns get.
Almost as exciting as a top lane battle, actually, at this point in time.
Certainly this one.
Yeah, this particular matchup right now in terms of the duo lanes, I once again just want to draw your attention to Candy Panda CSing. He is still sitting behind, but this time round is now pushing out a little bit more from his lane. You can see he's caught up now, is up to level 6, so his Ricochet, his Boomerang Blade is allowing him to push the wave just a little bit quicker. And you don't get the sense that Reckless is in complete control of this lane right now, as those first opening levels where Jinx's sort of damage and range will out-sustain that of Candy Panda's Sivir.
You see Reckless does take a bit of damage underneath the tower. Candy Panda threw that tower aggro, but no. Hit actually coming out onto him there. Cyanide is on the bottom side of the map as well. And he's just going to make sure that that dragon is warded up and not being taken away sneakily by Svenskeren.
One thing I'd like to just make you think about as we get to this mid-game, once we start seeing Fnatic roaming and rotating to try to push down towers, SK Gaming have to be a little bit careful. Their only real wave clear comes from Ari and from Sivir, both of whom are relatively short range. Sivir's going to be relying on that Boomerang Blade and the bouncing from the ricochets. Ari needs to get her Orb of Deception out. Whereas, if SK start to siege up, Fnatic have got pretty good wave clear. Long-range splash damage from Reckless's Jinx, as well as those barrels from Gragas. So, you know, defense as well as offense, the wave clear sits with Fnatic, which allows them to maybe pick more of those opportunities.
It has been a bit of a slower start to this one. 11.5 minutes in currently. No dragon taken down. I kill a piece, though. And SK, if we look at the gold total there up at the top, are 500 or so in the lead at this point. And Svenskeren once again getting some deep wards in there. He wants to keep up that pressure, and the CS lead that he's actually built up at this point is at 56 to the 40 of Cyanide. Meanwhile, the mid laners are both headed back here for a bit of a shop, and it looks like we're going to be seeing them coming back to lane with a little bit more to work with.
Yeah, I think this is actually pretty good decision making from both teams, to be fair. There's nice natural power curves for all of the champions involved. They all scale relatively well through the mid to the late game. And I think maybe with the exception of Shen, if he just builds tanky, not being as impactful as I feel a Renekton could be in a team fight, Soaz is going to be able to split push and rely on that Stand United, which is a much better way of joining the fight than the use of teleport. So both of these teams comfortable to get to the mid to late game. And I think that's why we've seen very little pressure on the towers, very little focus on accelerating the game. They just want to get to a comfortable power item spike before they pick fights.
Here we go. Cyanide moving down towards the bottom lane right now. Will they be able to sneak in there? There's no ward